Hey y'all, Ritz here with another Watcher of Realms video. Let's make sure we're not interrupted at all. And we're going to go into Apocalypse 1 here. I wanted to show you my team. This is my 30k team. You could do it instead with, what's his face? Nazim. He is quite amazing at it. He's not necessary, I would say, but this team works for me. It's great, so I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I'll show everybody the gear at the end. There's a few things that I'm doing in particular here, and I'll speak out the utility while it starts. For one, King Hearts. Yes, he's not the best tank in the game. Yes, we could do a lot better, but his Lord skill is amazing. He gives shields to everyone, and shields allow everyone to live longer in this fight. So it's helpful to get those shields out as much as I can. I have Magda in there. I have skilled her up for her skills here that give defense and magic ignore, which is really amazing. 15% to ignore magic and defense is quite awesome. I do not have anything that really ultimately gives too much by way of, like you can see, I only have 4 main DPS because I need 3 healers to get to live long enough. And when it comes down to it, a lot of this fight is basically, can you survive long enough so that you, one second. Can you survive long enough in order to basically get the boss down? Whoops, I shouldn't have done Helga there. I think we'll still be okay, but anyway, yeah, so a lot of this boss comes down to, can you survive long enough to do the damage you need to do? My main saw stop is Helga here. As you can see, she's quite incredible at putting out stuns there. I usually do King Hearts because he has a freeze mechanic in his ult. He doesn't do much damage, which is actually great for this because I want to extend each phase as much as I can. So I'm not going to ult with anyone but these two and Hollow in order to get their ults back up as quickly as possible so that they can ult again and stop the saw. So that's really kind of how I do this phase. It's just a matter of stunning as much as possible and running out the clock, because that's all you really need to do. And then right at the end here, I'm going to do everybody else. I'm going to trigger Hollow here now so that everybody's ults can come back up quickly, and I can do as much damage as possible through the shield phase, which ultimately is a pain in the butt because of his building up of these Aegis stacks. And that Aegis stack is why I have Magda in here to ignore magic and defense. And if you look, all my main DPS are in her range to get that buff. This is partially why I was so excited when they rebuffed her. They brought her buff back up, which was quite incredible. I was super happy when they did that. I am going to do a few ults here while I'm talking, and we'll be able to get them back up. All right, here we go. Obviously, you need a tank. Hearts is filling that role, as well as being the Lord that buffs Vortex and Midan. Buffing the two of them is actually super, super helpful because they give this extra... They get this extra boost to their healing, which is very useful, and they will ultimately get a little bit extra boost in keeping everybody alive. That's ultimately why I have everybody set the way I do. There's 2 kind of things to add here. One is the damage minus 20%. As you can see, I don't have any damage mitigation in here except for shields with Vortex and King Hearts. King Hearts I can't control, so it's kind of whenever I'm able to, I need to just drop that in. Now, I want to point out right here, I like to trigger Salazar, because if you look, everybody else has 10 stacks of poison at this point, and they're suffering from healing reduction. If you look, Salazar missed that because his ult makes him unhittable. And if you time it right after that timer goes down, sorry, 1 second, gonna put shields up to survive that. If you time it right after that timer goes down for the acidic venom, he doesn't get that stack. It basically just gives everyone a little bit more survivability because the healers don't have to heal him as much. That's all that really is. In the end, that kind of thing makes a massive difference to this boss. It's just insane how much damage he does. Ultimately, I'm probably going to only have to survive one more round. I'm saving those 3 ults for the beginning of the Saw phase. But you can see this is kind of the process I go through. When I need extra damage mitigation, I hit Vortex, and I'm hoping that these shields for the North Throne come up from time to time. I have Wrath in here for burns during his ultimate and for bonuses for the other 4. For Ares, for Salazar, and for Dryga. Why do I have Dryga in there? Because she's one of only 3 heroes that does attack down. Where is it? There we go. Damage minus 20% there is actually her. And she's one of 2 heroes in this game who has 100% uptime. And I'll show that at the end. Hopefully this will be my 30k run that I'm looking for. I'm going to trigger those 3. And I'm going to hold off on everybody else. You need a little bit more HP and a little bit more rage regen for certain heroes. But HP on everybody is key. You got to get your attack super high in order to break through his damage threshold, or his defense threshold. But this phase is pretty straightforward. As long as you've got some stuns in there, you bring down his damage output and you're good. That's pretty much it. Here at the end of the phase, I'm going to trigger ults, and I like to trigger him right there. Okay. And you can see we're just at 20k, coming up very soon. I'm going to just be triggering ults here as pretty much as much as possible, because getting through this phase is very difficult. And you want to get as much damage at the beginning as possible, because later on it becomes very hard. I'm going to hold on to his just for a moment, and you'll see why in a second. Earth Shatter, and he's unhittable for a moment. So that just makes things a little bit easier on the healers. Just little things like that can make a big difference. On the next one, I'm actually going to trigger Midan, and you'll see that she's able to heal through that. She heals just in time if you get it at that moment when he's putting the shield down. Right before the rocks hit, she's healing everybody so that they survive. And shields also help for survival. At this point, I'm just trying to get through to the next phase without dying. I could have survived without the shields, apparently. Oh, that was because of the North Throne shields. So that you can see all of that is really just kind of... Okay, I have to slow it down here because getting through this phase, for me, is often the hardest. Okay, the timing is right about when right about when it finishes. He's about to bring his dragon over the top. It takes a lot of practice to get it down, but it's not so bad. All right, right here is where I want to get his ult. And in a second, I'm going to need his trigger, oh yeah, those shields of the North Throne are going to keep us alive. Trigger them. I'm basically trying to push my way through this phase as quickly as possible while staying alive. This is a very, very hard phase. So just do what you can. That's really ultimately what it is here. Do what you can. Try to get through. And like I said, this little trick with Salazar is super helpful. When I figured it out, that's what actually got me through that threshold, so that he didn't have to get healed so much and the healers could focus on others. It made it so that I could get through it. Oh no, don't die, don't die. Okay, come on, Medan, come on. I need your heals. And there you can see, boom, we made it through. Okay. Uh-oh. I don't have these two up. Do a couple of ults in order to get him down a little quicker. I don't need to go so fast. In fact, I don't want to go so fast, but I do want to be in control of when it finishes, as opposed to being kind of like stuck at the very end and not sure if I'm going to make it. So that's why I'm triggering a few ults before the end here. And you can see we're almost at 30k. This took a lot of practice for me to get it down. And if you're worried about surviving, again, Salazar can be unhittable, and you can actually survive a little bit longer. It's just a nice little trick that you can use in order to get through to a little bit higher phases. I usually can't get through the next shield phase with this group. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. We will see. At this point, we're looking very good to get through this phase. I'm actually going to speed it up. Damage is looking good with the timing. And here's 30k right there. So that's my run, guys. This is my comp. This is how I get through it. Oop, gotta trigger her, because she's going to get everyone's ults back up. Honestly, I don't mind if I don't make it through this next phase. I want to do as much damage at the beginning as possible, because that way we actually don't have to worry so much as we go through, because he will have less damage reductions as he goes. I'm actually going to hit his ult now. So there's your timing on Medan. Right about when he's about to pull, as he drops the shield, is just about perfect timing for her ult. That way she is healing as the hit comes through with the shield. I'm going to do this. I am not sure I'm going to make it through this phase, but that's okay, because we already made 33k. So I don't really care that much if we don't. Here's Earth Shatter again with her, and you can see we're already dying. Yeah, we're not going to make it through this. That's okay. Well, but that's my 34, 35k run here, you can see. This is always where I run out of steam. I just can't quite get through this phase, and he starts killing off my guys. I'm going to save that run, and I'll show you the damage before. Let me see where's the damage calculation. So that's my 34k run. So my main DPS, you can see, are the 4 that I mentioned. Dryga is actually doing okay for a damage dealer that is defense based. Obviously, I could do better if I wanted to put in better heroes, but here, let me show you all the heroes that we are using. Okay, firstly, here's my hollow build. I did boost her attack a little bit, her attack speed, whatever I could, while giving her a solid amount of HP. And if I can muster a bit of defense, as long as I have a rage regen ring, and I put on a golden scarab. The higher the level of the golden scarab, the better. However, I want to show you the rest of the healers first. I'm going to come back to everyone else. Midan is key. Golden scarab all the way for the rage regen, and her rage regen is at 102. Crazy high rage regen is needed for Midan to keep up. It's a little bit insane, but that's what I needed to get the cleanses fast enough. Otherwise, I wasn't able to get it. Here's Vortex. I have him in a euphoric orb. Helps everyone put out a little bit more damage. While we're here, I want to show you. Here's Wrath. I do not have his, what is it called? Burning Pauldrons or whatever they're called. His exclusive artifact, which would possibly be really good here. I'm not sure. The reason I like this artifact in particular, and why I put a speed main here, is because of his Soul Basher. Every 4 attacks, he does an extra attack, and it's every 4 seconds he's able to do that. So every 4 seconds, he's putting out an extra attack. I'm getting extra attacks from this, and it's just constantly hitting extra attacks. During his ult in particular, I want as many attacks going as possible. It hits burning. Heavy blow is just constantly hitting. So I like that extra attack on him. Personally, it's a nice, easy artifact to level, and it's a solid build. It's not the best build I've ever had on him. I've had him in a much better build before. I have put him before, I think, in this build, which obviously is a little stronger, but it's okay. This is solid. Dryga. Here's who I wanted to show you. So I have defense bonus, defense bonus, defense bonus. Basically, her defense is as high as possible. She's not the main tank here. You could make her the main tank and use someone else in place of Hearts. I tried using, what's his face? I tried using Rourke for a little while, but in particular, this is the key here. She gives damage reduction to minus 20% damage. And if you look, it's every 8 seconds for 4 seconds. It lasts for 4 seconds, but at her A1, you can see at the bottom over here, the duration of damage reduction is increased by 4 seconds. So every 8 seconds, she reapplies an 8-second debuff, and that's why I have her in there for the damage down. It's a 20%. It's a very nice, solid damage down. Damage reduction is necessary for this fight. For a while, I was using Deimos. He can go in there and do a great job. He can go in and really just wreak havoc. He does fantastic damage. He gives a defense reduction, which is why I decided to put Eris in. You could see he also was one of my main DPS. He did almost 100 mil in there. I do not have him skilled. If I max skill him, he'll do even more. He gives a vulnerability as well as, there it is. And it's a 30% physical damage vulnerability. I don't have only physical damage. I do have in there, oh, before I get to her, this is a very, very nice build with a Realm Tear because he's in the back. She's also in a Realm Tear that I'm currently building, and in a very nice build. And she does magical damage. So she's not benefiting from his debuff, but what she does is this right here, that she gives the penetration increase and the damage increase. So we're constantly doing 20% more damage while ignoring 15% of the defense, and he's got a 20% defense reduction. So you're making your DPS basically much, much, much stronger in all of that process. He would be even better if I get him fully skilled, obviously, with the bleed, etc. I did get this up, which is really nice that I was able to get that all the way skilled. I do want this all the way skilled. He's probably going to be my next, but I skilled her up before I skilled him up. Did I miss anyone? Let's see. Oh, here we go. King Hearts, he's the tank, like I said. He's also giving a very, very nice bonus to my to 2 out of 3 healers. He's got a max promo Bastion Ring because he can. Also, with his freeze on his ultimate, he gives a little bit of that stun basically to the boss. Adding just a bit sometimes is all you need. Here's Helga. Again, not fully skilled, but what's important is having this one skilled and keeping an eye on the specialized attack bonus, because that's why I have her attack, speed, attack, speed, attack, speed, attack, whirlwind set, and a whirlwind set with attack speed. Basically, I just want her attack speed as high as possible. That's how she's able to get out 10 to 11 different stuns in her ult. Otherwise, she does put out a little bit less. I feel like I'm missing someone on the team. But I think that was it. So if I did forget someone, I apologize. That is my team for Apocalypse 1. I'm going to do a separate run for Apocalypse 2. But yeah, that's my 30k run, guys. It's a pretty approachable team all in all. I know King Hearts is not. I think that actually Isolde would do amazing there. Let me see if I did forget anyone, because they're all locked. Let's see. No, looks like I got everyone. The reason I think Isolde would do amazing, and I would actually put her in the middle if I was to put her in, is because of this physical reduction, this damage reduction. She might actually do better than King Hearts in that regard, but she doesn't put shields on everybody. So I put in King Hearts. Isolde would be amazing and honestly really, really solid. So yeah, I don't know how much better I could do. I think Isolde would do amazing in there. Really, honestly, her reduction, her physical damage reduction on her ultimate will save your life in the poison phase sometimes. So you can do that. Just stick her in the middle somewhere where she's going to help everyone. Replacements. If you don't have King Hearts, you can put in Isolde. If you don't have Helga, then definitely you want Nazim. Nazim in his ultimate is the best for stuns and will put 12 damage downs. He will heal your team as opposed to hurting them. You could put in Livian. Her stuns are actually quite solid. You just want her to go fast. Every 3 attacks creates a stun, so you want her built for speed as well as being your tank, so you could do it that way as well. I know a number of people who do it that way. You can definitely use Deimos in there for DPS. You don't need Salazar, but you don't get the bleed. If you want a bleed hero in there, because bleed does give an extra 10% physical damage, you can use Vladov, because he gives a bleed. Especially at his A1, he becomes actually a better bleed hero. But I try to avoid the Chaos faction in this fight because, as I kept saying, I'm taking pressure off the healers by reducing the damage they take, whereas the Chaos faction hurts themselves and makes it harder for the healers, and my healers just had a little bit of trouble. This helps you get the extra damage, but the extra HP restoration, but you can't really keep it up because it's only once per deployment. So if you're using Vladov, I would recommend highly a Lunacy Visor at max promo. That way he's gaining health for the whole thing. If you put in Deimos, he's amazing in that Lunacy Visor. You can also use Rourke. He does pretty solid damage and can double as a tank. He's not the best. If you're going to use him, you need HP mains on the right. And the key here, you want his HP basically as high as possible. Any other replacements for the team? Midan is a must. You have to have a cleanser. You could make it through with reductions and just super high DPS, but it's really hard. It's super, super, super hard. If you can get Midan in there and have another cleanser for your second team, obviously, I have Elowen in there. She's one of the best out there. They are coming out with the Fairy Doctor Healer that does do cleanses. She's going to be very solid, but there's RNG involved. I don't really know so many. I don't think there's a good replacement for Dryga. If you have Alistair and you're running a team of of arbiters. If you're running an arbiter team, like you have Praetus and you're running an arbiter team in the second one, and you have Alistair over there, then you could absolutely put Volca in instead of instead of Ares to get her damage down on her ult. And she also gives, where is it? Here it is, the damage reduction. The 30% damage down is amazing. And I use that in my Apoc 2. It's not as consistent is the problem. Maybe with her, if I had her exclusive artifact and it was leveled, that might help. But you need to have max Scarlet Ferment stacks. It's just a little bit RNG heavy, and sometimes I need to restart my runs on Apoc 2 because of that RNG, and I get wiped because it's not out. This damage reduction is not out. So, yeah, that's what I got. There are definite replacements that you can use. Having, for instance, Dolores in would be amazing for inspiration. If you have other damage reduction heroes, that would be great. But that is my Apoc 1 run. 30k, no problem. That was my first attempt this week. So you can see it's actually pretty straightforward. You need to slow it down. Go only one speed for the poison phase because it's pretty tight timing. I've gotten it a little bit better as I leveled up my artifacts, and I was able to get a little bit more rage regen. But that's what I got for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope this really helps. Let me know if this helps you break through that 30k, and I'll see you in the next one.